What's up, guys? Old Man Sneaks here, and welcome to episode 10 of the podcast. We have another big one and a really interesting subject matter, I guess, to say the least, for today. We have some new guests and returning ones. Probably won't take up too much of your time, and then just go to tonight's guest. Let's start off with James Shoobridge. Also known as the James, the Real Speaker on Instagram. How's it going, James?
Good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. And I guess thanks for taking a risk with. And yeah, I kind of feel like the bad guy, you know.
Nah, there's no bad guy here. This is just straight up conversation. And maybe some difference of opinions, but that's as far as we go, mate. And thanks for giving me the time.
Yeah, no worries at all. No, it's good. I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing what people's opinions are, giving my perspective and experience. And yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity.
Cool. That's good. And for the other guest, it's the Sneaker Sasquatch on Instagram. Also one of the admins in our Facebook group. How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. I also one of the first 10th or 11th member in the group as well too. So I've been here for ages.
Nice.
No, I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts tonight. So
cool. Yep, that's what we're doing. And for the next two guests, I don't think they need much of an introduction. They've been here multiple times. First one is Julian Pauncz, JP, or Kicks and Crazed on Instagram. How's it going, man?
Good evening, guys. Thanks for having me on again.
Cool. Thanks for being back on the show, man.
No worries.
And my go-to guy, Emmanuel Guevarra, or Kicking It 3G. How's it going, man?
Yeah, good. I think I just get sick and tired of just chatting to teenagers. So every time Old Man Sneaks asks me to come on and talk to some adult, let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. No, good to be here, guys. Always a pleasure to be here.
Cool. All right. I think let's get on with the tradition of the show, I guess, which is a little bit of show and tell. Let's go through everyone's latest pickups. Let's start with James. James, any latest pickups, mate?
Yeah. Okay, so for what have I got recently? So yeah, the alternative versions. So yeah, the Court Purple ones.
Court Purple, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
They did some more sort of tumbled leather around that retail. Yeah, they're really good. So the Core Purple ones, these Trav Parade lows.
Nice.
Yeah, they're really good. The vintage green dumps, which are really good.
Those were the women's with the sail midsole, right?
Yeah, so they all vintage laces. Yeah, the shape and everything on that is superb.
Is that the one with the metallic sort of green?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see. Yeah, you can.
It's nice.
Yeah.
looks really good.
Nice.
Yeah, they're awesome. And a bit of an early look, I guess. But yeah, they came out a bit early with these, but the Concord 5s have come out too, which are really good.
They look good.
Yeah, they look clean.
Are they coming out this year?
It's a lot of white though.
Yeah, I think a month or two. But yeah, they're awesome. And they come really, really clean, really freshly made. So it's cool seeing all the leather, still yet to but yeah, you get to see how it's going to soften up and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, like white, but on foot, yeah, they feel awesome. Like, yeah, really, really good.
Mate, what about your padders?
Oh yeah, and last but not least, for Dylan, which came today, the Padders 7.
That is
Oh, nice.
that's the icicles too. They're the green ones, yeah.
Yeah. So those more like.
'Cause, like-
Oh, do you have the other pair?
The brown ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
Dude, they're absolutely beautiful in hand too, man. No,
Yeah.
absolutely one of my favorite pairs of kicks, man. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, like the quality. Really buttery, nuba.
They feel heavy too.
Smooth, short-haired suede. And I just wore them to the gym quickly, and yeah, they feel perfect. Like that, just almost too tight a fit. So yeah, you got to use.
Yeah, mine are the same. It's the sock lighting, man. It's intense.
So yes, I'll stop there. I won't do all the others.
Interesting pickups, right? Cool. Moving on, I guess, with Dylan. Dylan, any latest pickups or any? What was your last pickup, man?
Well, I guess I'll just show my favorite pair at least.
Yeah.
Those Thornbecker 7s?
Yep, Dornbecker 7s,
Yeah.
man. They are absolutely beautiful, man. Like the details on the back
Yeah.
and like the caricature of the dude playing, like the kitty designer playing the guitar, like
Yeah. Nice.
the little like
Wow.
DJP pick on the front and like the gold like flex and stuff, and the Jumpman on the side in like that heavy like metal
Yeah.
like I don't know what you call it, and there's like nice little paneling on the inside as well too. Like in here is really soft and buttery as well. Like they're honestly like just absolutely fantastic.
Does it
Yeah,
have
nice.
a different texture on the leather as well?
Yeah, it's like this part, the black part is like a swirl pattern. I don't know if you can see it or not, but they're like, you can feel the texture of each individual swirl like as you run your finger over it. It's really nice, man. They are the nicest 7s I've seen, and they're so good in hand, man. The quality is unreal. Like they nailed them.
Yeah. I haven't seen one in hand, but based on the photos, the texture of the leather seems really good.
Yeah, it feels like the swirl pattern. I don't know. It's really nice quality, man. They're like a nice feel on your foot too.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, my last pickup was Bodegas, but I mean I can show you guys if you want, but that's my favorite pair of shoes, so I'm happy with that.
Moving on to JB. What's your LPU, mate? Just
This
maximum
week
of
has been-
4, please.
It's been a slow week. So just one this week. I just got the barbershop dunks.
Ah,
Nice.
I like it right.
Yeah, in hand, they're not too bad. They're better than the grey ones. I had the grey ones and I got rid of them just because the suede just felt like cardboard. And I felt that as soon as I started wearing it, it just like folded in half. So at least these ones, like the leather is actually pretty soft for a dunk. The actual like comb on the front is actually metal.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like the colors are nice and the details, like the swirls on the back don't stick out too much. But I might keep them. I'll see how they go.
I like that blue. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like between like a UNC and like a sky blue, which is kind of
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Kind of cut in the middle there. Yeah, it's really pretty.
And with the red as well, like actually nice. There's a nice pop. So
True, isn't what? There's like
Yeah,
so
I
much
think that-
patterning on them too. I haven't seen them before.
yeah. So they kept on getting delayed, and eventually I got them through Foot Locker. So it was a cop. So retail is always nice for a dunk, and stuff like the shoelace tips. Like they've alternated the colors and stuff, so they've actually gone and thought about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice and cool. I think the quality compared to like even like this, which is like a way overpriced dunk, the quality on that, like the leather's terrible. This is actually okay. So
Nice. I think we're getting flooded
There's-
with dunks now. and it's
Yeah.
Those UNCs aren't that nice even really honestly compared to those. Like those barbershops are a nicer colorway. Like those UNCs are kind of boring, frankly.
Yeah, and Dylan, like in our size, that UNC is like stupid price, like for what it is. Like,
Yeah, man.
I would never go out and spend that much amount of money on the UNC. Like they're on
No.
StockX, like they're asking 900. I think last sale was like 700. Yeah,
Any GR dunks, really.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Cool. Emmanuel, what do you have for your LPUs, mate?
It's been a day. It's been a class that I've been on, so we've picked up a few.
Yeah, so I don't want to go too crazy.
We're just
Some really good pairs that I really wanted. I don't know if
I showed. Yeah, I don't know if I popped these on last time, but I got the tree line.
Oh yeah,
I picked up the tree line
Oh,
MX.
very nice.
So yeah, I love them. Like the suede is just ridiculous. Just really textured. It's beautiful. Just the combo is really good. Hey, like the pink really pops.
Yeah.
Really happy I got that one.
what's on
Pink
the
and
insole on
green
the?
seems to
The
really work.
ASICs, the GT2s from
Oh, yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just
the green.
on-
Yeah, the green works with the brown and then the pink popping.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, it's just a bit delayed. The inner sole on those tree
And then-
lines. What does it actually
Yeah.
have on them?
so.
Let me check. Oh, it's got like patterns.
Oh,
So
It's
it's
got some patterns of like leaf and just
like
trail patterns and stuff, so nothing too crazy.
yeah, not as the skunks because that's what right. So
Yeah.
real nice. And then the second pair was the I think cop, which is the ASICs, the up
Ones.
so awesome. The entire color ridiculous. So real happy about those. Yeah, I'll keep it to two because they're just like behind me as well.
So
It's been well that I really wanted. Those are the two I really want. Not that I don't want the other ones. Let's be honest. I still wanted the other ones. But those two definitely.
It's good with the ASICs up there, right? Like we're all able to cop on retail, and it's not like mad rush of people getting them and reselling them. It's awesome.
Is there a resale market for ASICs?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is on some pairs, but it's not as
Yeah.
hype as obviously the J's and the Nikes.
Yeah, some of the collaboration on ASICs are going for thousands, like the
Wow.
the Kith salmon toes and stuff, like the Jello.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like 2.5K. Yeah, so but yeah, some go wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. With my pickup, also a dunk, the Fossil Rose.
Yeah, nice.
I know Emmanuel
nice,
has
man.
this as well. The color
Very nice.
Just,
Yeah, they-
just ridiculous.
I really like
really
that.
nice. Yeah.
Like baby blue color. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
And it's a PRM dunk as well, which means it's not the plastic leather. It's sort of like decent suede. So
I really like that like brownie colored like mints or the swoosh with like the color of the actual like it's a really nice looking color. I dig it, man.
it's rose pink.
Yeah, it's
Sort
like
of like an
yeah.
olive pink.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Like terracotta,
Nice.
but like
What's the colorway called?
Fossil Rose. And for my second one, just the second one, I guess, is the Mirage Gray Protection Pack,
Oh,
Man,
you
they're
got
pretty.
it.
which is really nice. And I have the Rain Cloud, so and I love the Japan colorway. And this is Japan colorway, basically the light green and the gray. So I had to get them. So
Yeah,
it's nice.
yeah, that is really good.
Yeah. Resale is not too bad at the moment. Couldn't get a win, but the resale is close to getting a W on end. That's how I justify it now. So if it's close to end clothing raffle win, that's a good enough excuse for me to pay resale. So.
Mate, and it is resale at this point, I reckon.
Yeah. Cool. And I guess we go on beaters or the one pair that you wore this week. I guess if you don't have a single beater, and I'll start with Dylan again.
Oh man, where are my beaters? This is my favorite pair of beaters, actually.
The Don Becker.
This is a pair that no one really like fucks with, honestly. SFAF ones. Specifically in this burgundy colorway. They are super comfy and like really durable. Like I've moved houses 3 times in these. And then for a swim in a dam and everything, like these are awesome. Super comfy. I love high tops, so like they're ridiculously high. They come half like your leg. And I've trashed the crap out of them, and like they still look like brand new pretty much. Like they're awesome. Recommend them if you can find a pair cheap enough. Get a pair.
Is that a Bordeaux colorway or?
Like maroon. Yeah, it's called maroon. I'm pretty sure. I have another colorway too. I've got the SF Core purple ones as well too. They're just straight purple the whole way across. But yeah, these are my beaters. I wear them heaps.
And gum sole, right? That gum sole?
Yeah, natural gum. Yeah, natural gum sole. Yep.
That looks nice. That's a nice combination.
Yeah, I thought it would be too much when I first looked at them, but like actually seeing them in hand, the burgundy and the gum actually work together quite nicely, honestly. And they've got these like ridiculous amount of straps on the back as well too.
Yeah.
So like,
looks
I love
perfect for winter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Nice. What about you, James?
The last pair that I wore, as a beater were these 7-Eleven. I don't know if they ever
7-Eleven
actually. Yeah.
They never released, right?
I don't think so. But you see a decent amount around. I don't know if they're all left or if some were backdoored or what.
Cool. JP? Any?
So my beaters for this week, besides from the Asics, like those other two guys, just some Celtics dunks, SBs. So now
Nice,
the Celtics have in the NBA doing quite well. I thought I'd rock them. Not that I'm a Celtics fan, but that's the closest colorway. So, but yeah, they're nice and comfy. I do like SBs. I like the padded tongue. It's just a bit more comfy than just a normal dunk. So.
Yeah, I've been wanting a W on that one. Just couldn't get it.
Yeah, I got off fast times, so I was lucky on that one.
Nice. And Emmanuel?
So there are some sales for those SB Dunk 7-Elevens as well too on StockX. So I'd say they're probably released in some regard.
Yeah, I think it might have. I don't know. I'm curious. I think some might have got out and then they were pulled, or I don't know.
Cool. And Emmanuel?
Just the one here. I don't know. I think I might be the only person that has these. I doubt it, but I don't see them often. The Fear of God from 2018.
Ooh.
Like just a very easy pickup, considering it was a Fear of God during that time.
Yeah.
Just a nice shoe. Just a happy shoe to walk around in. Yeah, beautiful. That's something I've been wearing
A couple of times this week. Nice leather sock liner and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so I picked up both because they came in a white and it came in this one. So since
seen
they
the
were
white.
like
Online as well. I've gotten them.
yeah,
And they were like, I think they were 180 at the time as well for a Fear of God.
yeah, collaboration. So that was, yeah, it was no brainer to get both of them while I could.
Yeah, you're lucky to get 180 on anything Fear of God.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Jeez.
Yeah, I couldn't wear them, Julian. I like them as like a visual to look
Yeah.
at, but I could never put them on my feet, man.
I've had them for 2 years and I haven't worn them yet, so they're going.
What the fuck do you wear them with?
Yeah, exactly. I think you have to kind of
Go
for a
tech wear
dressy
on it, I
events
think.
if you want. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. As for me, I've never been out that much. One time that I was out, I was wearing Thursday boots. So that's my beater. Cool. So I guess we go on and move on to the main topic of the podcast. I think we've been having a lot of sneaker discussion, and we've always talked about reps or fakes in passing. Obviously, it's very one-sided conversation. It's a group of people who are all against reps. I think I might be making an assumption there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but and I think it's a bit of a change to get at least someone on the podcast that supports reps or that purchases reps and does it openly and have his own opinion about purchasing reps rather than talking to everyone that just says the same thing, right? So that's why we have James Shoobridge, who supports reps, fakes, UA, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe we can have a discussion on all those terminologies later. But yeah, and before we begin, I guess, before I start asking questions, I just want to know with Dylan, what's your position on them? Because this is your first time on the show, and
I am all for them, man. I'm in James's boat. I have no issues at all with them, frankly, and I almost encourage them at this point with the way the market is.
Cool. And have you purchased reps on your own as well?
No, but I will be.
Okay, cool. And then I guess let's move on to James. James, I mean, you're probably the most experienced person in terms of like reps in this group. And
Yeah.
I guess maybe if you want to do a little bit of background of how you got into sneakers and how you got into reps in the first place would be a good start.
Yeah. Without going, I guess, too much into my story, but yeah, I've always been into shoes. I grew up in the 90s, so, you know, I still remember Jordans. I was into pumps the most. And, I stopped buying sneakers for a little while. What are we now, 2022, so in the mid sort of teens, 2015, 2017 sort of thing. And then, I don't know, it was like just a series of events. Like I got back into buying and collecting shoes a couple of years ago. And I was really surprised at what I was hearing about, raffles and resellers and everyone losing and all the frustration and all that kind of stuff. And then I also had like a larger collection of retail that I just wasn't that taken by, to tell you the truth. Like I had especially a lot of really good Jordan 3s that I was just like not liking the shape of them, the design. They're all getting that kind of bubble nose. I don't know if you know what I mean. And yeah, I was just, I don't know, I wasn't really into it. And then somehow a couple of good rep reviewers or UA reviewers kind of popped up on my YouTube, and I started watching them, and they were pushing the rep side of things pretty hard. So I don't know, I was just inspired to give it a try. And the first few pairs that I got, I was like, this stuff is really good. Like, I loved the look on foot, the way they felt, kind of. And then I just got more and more into it and interested. And the more that I bought, I was like, this stuff is awesome. And I'm not having to. The other side of it, I guess, is the resale culture and everything that's kind of happened to sneakers that, I don't know, I just wasn't into it. Like I get people that only want to stick to that, and I have absolutely no problem with it. But to me, it was the thing of I was trying to hit up a few raffles and a few releases, and getting the experience that we've all had of getting locked out and the site shutting down. And I was just like, what is my other option here? I have to go and pay some, kid possibly who used a bot and whatever, and just pay him an extra how much. And I just went, for me personally, I can't just didn't want to be relegated to that. So yeah, the more I opened myself up to reps and saw what I could buy and looked more stuff, I was just like, this is fun again. This is, you know, the amount of stuff that I can get, the choice that I have, there's no kind of price issues with it. And yeah, it's just gotten better and better. Like the quality of stuff is really phenomenal, and I could buy whatever I want. I have good relationships with the people that, you know, I buy through. And the community is a lot bigger than, you know, people may think. And it's an interesting one. Like, yeah, the Facebook sneaker group, you know, looks pretty one-sided, but I know behind the scenes a lot of people are into it, but I think that they just don't want to cop the hate and that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy it, and I think the shoes are really good, and I like the choice that I have. And you know, I get people's opinions on it, and I try to understand their point of view. But for me, I'm like, the alternative, if I just stick to straight, you know, retail, I'm just like that. The sneaker game is full of a lot of shit now, like, to put it bluntly, compared to what it used to be, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So I don't know. I kind of go, what's the alternative for me?
Cool. Well, also, by the way, guys, feel free to jump in and ask questions as well if you have other questions. But I think my next question to that is like, why do you think you guys cop a lot of hate in terms of like when you're in, let's say, a sneaker community group? And
yeah, it's a really interesting one. Like, because, you know, within the community and within the sneaker world, there's a lot of people that stick only to authentic, but are really accepting and cool of the whole rep scene. And I know a lot of people in Jordan heads, you know, Jordan heads and Soul Insiders, and they're like, yeah, you know, they don't want to buy them, but they're totally cool with it. But the straight hate, I don't know, like, and I don't really want to, you know, make conclusions on people and that kind of thing, but it's a really interesting one. And a lot of us in the scene seem to cop the same arguments and the same style of hate, which is all around, you know, you're broke, they're fakes, you're not a real sneakerhead, this and that. And I just wonder if there's other underlying stuff to that, like a lot of judgment. I don't know, maybe, I get it, maybe people who only want to stick to authentic and spend a certain amount and have spent a certain amount, maybe there's something about reps that, I don't know, kind of threatens the identity that they've got from sneakers, which, you know, if you're just able to cop stuff and you look like you get it pretty easily and that kind of thing, does that, I don't know, does that threaten or challenge what sneakers mean to them? I don't know, like, I can't.
If you could go out to just like to get raffles and all that sort of stuff, would you still go ahead and get like reps or UAs off the shelf, or would you still, rather than get the authentic, or would you go to the rep even if they're the same price and you could just walk into a shop and get them?
Oh, good question. I think I would keep my options open. Like, I think I would do both, to tell you the truth. Like, to me, the rep world has just given me, it's just expanded. I'm not like anti-retail, and I still have a lot of retail. And there's still a few things coming up this year that I'll definitely try to cop retail. So I think I would do both. Absolutely.
I'll answer that question partly too, Julian. and like in the situation for me, I haven't bought a pair of shoes in ages, and like if I could walk into a shop tomorrow and buy any pair of Jordans I wanted that's just come out in the last month for my size for retail, I probably wouldn't buy reps, honestly, or look at buying reps in that situation, because the thing I want is therefore easily accessible and not costing me XYZ more. Whereas like if I spent the same money on reps, I could get 2 or 3 pairs as opposed to buying one overly inflated pair from somebody else.
For my point of view, I feel a lot of people say that it's very hard to get shoes these days. And some models it is, don't get me wrong. But I feel that a lot of people are just using the excuse saying the kids are using bots or like you can't win. And I've like proven many times over that like I've got many like hype pairs and I just try and I win and I don't even think about going that avenue. But it was just interesting to see like if you guys like would support the UA market rather than Nike to prove a point.
Yeah.
Not me personally. I really don't have any points to prove either way in that situation. For me, like I love Jordan brand, man. Like I'm wearing a pair of Jordan shorts right now, man. Like I'm the biggest Jordan brand whore there is. But like I personally just don't see the justification in spending the amount of money in that situation. Like there's 2 pairs up there that are worth a fair bit. So like I don't see the justification in doing that anymore. And yeah, like getting sneakers isn't as hard as everyone makes it out to be in this situation. But at the same time, there are still people, you see them all the time, that they get like 15, 20, 30 pairs and that kind of stuff, which then makes it hard for everybody else. Like how many times has Glenn posted GW, but the 65 comments below that is, oh, I didn't get them, I didn't get them. So like people are still definitely missing out though.
Well, there's still work involved, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to put in the work if you want to win raffles. You have to go. But what's your take on this, G? For you guys who are new here, I mean, one thing that interested me about G is like he never buys resale. Like his collection was built through just purely retail purchases.
Like Pete.
And he's got a lot of hype stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry for the. There's going to be a little bit of a. Yeah.
The delay, but
Yeah.
that is all my things saying. Like my collection is just all.
And you know, my mates aren't into sneakers, so you know I kind of get them to raffles for me. You know, I think version of bots. Hey. They kind of just enter for me, and you know, if I win, I win. If I don't, kind of move on to the next one because there's a whole heap of. And like me personally, I love sneakers, as all of you do, and it can be any brand, it can be anything, and it's just like I see something in it that I'm gonna wear, I'm gonna love, and I buy it. Yeah, like. I guess my take on it is this.
Again, like you buy and wear what you like, right?
But
I've got nothing against it at all. Because
I mean, James, let me know if this happens. But does anyone come up to you and look at your shoe and go, "Hey, those are reps," right? I believe they probably won't. Okay, like.
No, and that's. I agree with you on that.
But yeah.
I was going to say that I agree with you on that, but like I see the other side of it is that I see what I like and what I want to rock. Like there's kind of the political side of it, I guess, and reps and reels and this and that. I'm like, I just like the shoe, man. Like I just think it's dope. And
yeah, absolutely.
In terms of life. This is the thing that, like, I don't know, I kind of say to some people or some people who are considering getting into reps or whatever and wonder if they're going to get called out and this and that. And I'm like, dude, you never get called out. Like, you know, in terms of my daily life experience, I have no different experience wearing my retails to reps. All
I mean,
people
99.9% of the population doesn't even care what's on our feed.
no, and within that, you know,
Absolutely, man. Like we are just a small niche.
Yep.
so that,
We're
yeah,
feet like this.
yeah, and so to me, I'm like, I don't know. The number one thing is just passion for shoes. I'm just like, I just want to wear what I want to wear, like ultimately. And yeah, some people can have a real judgment against reps and all of that. For me, I'm just like, I just like the fucking shoes. Like, so if I can walk into a retail store and pick up different shoes and go, yeah, that's cool, and I can make that decision, then I can make that decision on anything. And having worn them myself, ultimately I'm like, the quality of this stuff, the wearability, the look on foot, everything, though there's no major difference. Like, yes, there's going to be differences, of course, and there's a lot of guys on YouTube who do rep versus retail and compare a lot of stuff, but all the differences that I've found have never indicated worse. I've never gone, that makes them worse. And there's some stuff that, is a little bit different, but I go, but that's still dope. Like, I still want to wear that shoe. I don't know. Like,
So James, so once you've
I just like real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry for the delay. What I was going to say was, I think it's very much a generational thing with this reps versus real stuff. Because, I work at school, the kids there have those conversations about reps and real shoes and all that sorts of stuff. And, I don't
ever remember having those conversations in the past, but
to them, their generation is about, like we've spoken about this before, where the value of the shoe means
more than what the shoe is. So for them, when they look at a rep, it's kind of like, hey, that's a fake, so it's like no
value.
Yeah.
But to the person, it could be totally different. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's just, I think for me, that like it's just a younger generation that's not educated about what's happening in the sneakers scene, right? Because if you look at UAs then I guess you can correct me if I'm wrong, like a lot of the UAs are actually the same factory stuff, right? Like a surplus of authorized because you've made a quota, like Nike's made a, Jordan's made a quota, that's what we're going to release. So now you've got a whole bunch of the same shoe flying around, but again, it's just
if that's the sneaker that you wanted and you were able to get it, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And like, I think with the research that I've done and talking to different sellers and stuff, I'm pretty certain that they're not actually unauthorized authentic, as in they come off the exact same factory line, but I've kind of got an idea or a picture of how the Chinese and other countries factory system works, and I'm like, what I've discovered for myself at least is that Nike doesn't make their own shoes, so to speak. Like, there's not special factories in America or anything. They pretty much hire out the Asian factories. And so the Asian factories are the ones making the shoes and producing the materials, and there's a few different material factories and all that kind of stuff. And over time, that same factory system has become really good at replicating the shoes. So you may not get, you know, a UA which is from the exact same factory that made, you know, the court purples and just had a whole lot left over. But you're pretty much buying from the same factory system, so to speak, that produces all this stuff. So, you know, they source same materials from the same source factories and different ways that they can make the shoes now, which is Nike may ask different factories to make samples, you know, usually 6 months before they come out. And so factories will get the blueprints and that kind of stuff. And they will, you know, pass the blueprints off to other factories and they can make them off that. Or UA, or they might, you know, get retail pairs and just deconstruct it and then work out from that how to make it.
That's a big one too, yeah.
Yeah, or they can do it off photos and stuff now. But the thing is that those same factories that Nike may hire, it's not difficult for those factories to reproduce this stuff. Like, it's not Dior clothes. It's not, you know, stuff that's made in Italy or whatever. Like,
But are they really UA though? Because I mean, from what you're saying, right? I don't think, and this is just my opinion as well, and based on my research, right? There's no UA is not real when it comes to fake. Like it's really just a fake. It's made from a different factory. Because I don't believe that someone on a licensed Nike factory would just whack a couple of hundred more than their quota, right? So it's definitely outside of that.
Mm-hmm. And reps is a way better term for them, really.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just a term that we use to make it more palatable, I guess, right? Like saying UA reps, but they're fakes at the end of the day, right?
Well, it's interesting as well, like because in the rep,
yes, I guess, but like they're still like the same way as like they call replica handbags and shit like that. So like it's all the same shit. Like it's weird.
Yeah, and some people got really big on the UA term and wanting to call it unauthorized, authentic, and this and that, and saying that they're from the same factory. And I'm like, man, they're not from the same country. Like they're not unauthorized, authentic. They're reps. But
yeah, UA feels like someone's like pulling the wool over your eyes. Really, like they're trying to bullshit you to make you believe that these shoes are more legitimate than they actually are.
Yeah. Well, to me, I've always seen that as a ploy to get more people into UAs.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Well, at the end of the day, if Nike hasn't handled, or the quality control department at Nike hasn't seen the shoe and stamped it saying we agree that this is to our standards, which sometimes is pretty bad. Like from some factories, like the Thunder 4 is a good example of all that with the glue all over them and stuff.
Let me
get Travis Ford as well too when they came out.
Yeah, but definitely UA is just that term that people try to, I think, say to justify saying that I have a pair of shoes that is just as good as the real thing. But like my friends that has bought some UAs or fakes or replicas, and we've compared them to the real thing, and like there are big differences in the pairs he has got. Like the tongue was like an inch above the top of the shoe, sort of thing. And he paid quite a lot for them as well. They're not that cheap, are they, James?
No, like some of the really high tier stuff included, a couple of $100.
So pretty much retail, right?
They're about retail really, or a little bit less depending on where you get them from. But like you're still paying about retail money. Yeah.
So for you, James, I'm guessing it's not for financial reason, right? It's purely just for access. Because I'm looking behind you, right? Like how many behind you are reps and how many behind you are retail? That's a lot of shoes.
A lot of those are reps. My retails are more, you can't see them, like over there and up in the cupboard.
Do you keep count? Like how many pairs of reps are you in now?
far out. Probably, oh man, I reckon at least 50, 60, maybe.
Don't you wish sometimes
Yeah.
like you can sit and I'm not and I know you're not. You don't want to pay resale on some sneakers, right? But don't you think like let's say 10 of those reps would be equal to let's say $1,000 or $2,000 sneaker almost. Do you ever sit back and evaluate it in that way?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I've definitely thought that before. I'm like, man, if I, didn't buy the next, 5 or 10 pairs, I could do that. But honestly, like, and this is where it's personal, I guess, as well, that there's really nothing that I would pay that money for. And with reps, I've been able to buy a lot of stuff that I wouldn't normally be able to get, like at the authentic or retailer. So that's like it as well. Like, so there's not a lot of authentic stuff that I would pay that money for. Like, and that's just personal. Like, that's just totally my own personal opinion. I'm like, the stuff is not worth that much. Like, I'm like, it costs next to nothing to make it. It retails for a certain price. But, I get it with some pairs. Some pairs I definitely go, that to me really fits that, collector grail kind of stuff. But the amount of stuff now that is around that, $800, $1,000 mark or more, a lot of it I just go, I wouldn't pay that for that shoe. So I don't know. So it's kind of like, for me, yes, 5 pairs I could not buy and I could spend $1,000 on something, but I probably actually want those other 5 pairs more than the $1,000 one, if that makes sense. And and it seems like certain shoes that I would never get at retail or authentic, like the Travis Scott Friends and Family, which I just really want to wear that shoe. Like, I think that's awesome. And stuff that doesn't ever come out or isn't available through retail, like the Fragment Friends and Family samples that are really, really good, or like the Cause 3 that were based on the bespoke stuff, and the Atomo Katsuhiro, which is really, like, the suede on these is awesome. So I guess, like, I'm spending, maybe $200 or something, and you could say that yes, I could save up and buy others, but there's a lot of stuff in the rep market that I wouldn't be able to get kind of otherwise, that I really like and I think is really good.
So from my point of view, like, I'm totally against that. I really, like, I'm not going to say what I think of people who buy them, stuff like that. And I know that there's a huge community who's kind of behind that side of things. But for me, like, I've been in the retail industry for the last 4 years, actually employed by a footwear manufacturer. And I would say that I wouldn't have a job if people weren't buying the real thing, right? But for me, like, I think I've once bought a shoe early on my collecting sort of journey that isn't real, and it was from a pretty reputable person in the market. And like, I'm not going to go back to that person and say, hey, I think you sold me some fakes. But I'm just totally worried that these guys were, like, I'm not saying that it'll happen to you, James, but if somebody was to go out and buy 50 fakes and then go, I'm over this now, I'm now 30 years old, I'm just going to give all these shoes away or give them to Vinnies or whatever, and then all these people are buying them and then reselling them as the real thing. And then all of a sudden the market's flooded with UAs, which there are a lot of people out there trying to sell like fakes. There's all scammers out there, but like, What's your
It is
point of
shit
view on that,
customers.
James and Dylan and everybody else?
Well, I guess I'll part of this. I think those people are just terrible people regardless. Their motives are ill regardless of their choice of thing to sell. Like in that situation, those people are just making weaselly choices to make themselves money. Now, and like into your point in regards to you working for a footwear retailer, your job isn't dependent on any one of us buying reps or not, because your shoes sell out regardless because of the brand you work for. Especially Jordans. Jordans are like don't even need to be advertised. They walk out the door anyway. And your market, your job isn't dependent on any regard on the resale market because your company gets no kickback for that. So like, there's no James buying reps has no bottom line impact on Nike because those pairs are still going to get sold regardless of whether James buys 3,000 reps or 2 pairs of reps. Like your company, Nike's still going to make billions of dollars.
But on the other side of things, like not the scammers, but all of a sudden, like people are getting shoes. Not saying that one would affect this, but all these shoes are getting onto the market, so they're spreading. Like I've heard of people, maybe the fourth or fifth person with their shoe in hand, and 2 people before it didn't know they were reps, and all of a sudden there's like this whole like market of people with buying fakes when they weren't aware of it. And like I know a lot of people behind, like totally against it because of that reason, but like we are supporting a country that is in the background politically pretty bad. We're supporting these factories, all these like they want to take over the Pacific Ocean, right? Like these Chinese people. And
aren't we all supporting them though?
not really. Like a lot of these, not all these shoes are like the real things. A lot of them aren't coming from China anymore. They are coming from other countries, like Vietnam and a couple other things. But I do know they, as James was saying, they do rotate from different factories, and it's not just the one. Like it is being made like in all different countries. But like,
I just mean in general. Like I'm sitting in a room full of things made in China. Like everything in the situation, everything we do is support them in a roundabout way, regardless of what you buy.
Yeah, but you're not going directly to China. You're going through a retailer to buy your Chinese stuff, and it's employing Australians. It's putting like money on people's like to able for them to buy food. Like I used to work for a Chinese like Great Wall Motors, which our company would import them. I'd get paid a salary. So it's not going directly to China. Like it is employing other people in the long term of things, and going straight to a Chinese factory and going, hey, I'm going to buy some fakes. Like really, it is illegal. Like it is a legal thing, and I've always said that. If you, I don't know, do these shoes ever get caught up by customs? Because they're like, these
Okay.
I don't know.
Occasionally, yes. Especially if you do large bulk orders, people do get caught up in customs a fair bit for this kind of stuff. That's usually because like customs will stop them because they believe they're importing counterfeit goods.
Yeah.
For reselling and that kind of stuff themselves, which is illegal, obviously.
Yeah.
And like it does happen. I know it happens more with clothing because people buy through DHgate and they get like 2 or 3 grand of their clothing and that kind of stuff, and the customs will seize up that kind of stuff. But like individual pairs, like if you're buying 2 or 3 pairs at a time, customs won't stop you pretty much. They don't even know what they're looking at.
And I mean,
And like
my opinion on that is that, you know, in the rep scene or the UA scene, that's, you know, buying reps to sell them is real is as shunned as anyone. And
yeah,
there's a lot
absolutely.
of guys on, a lot of people actually on Instagram who do that. And the bigger UA reviewers and rep reviewers will pounce on that stuff. But it's just don't do it. Like, yeah, that's right.
It's dirty. Like, I have a question for. I have a slight off-topic question. Sorry. It's a question we wanted to ask for a little while. Does everyone but James, do you guys enter more raffles for shoes that you don't necessarily want as much as other ones, purely based on the fact that you've got a higher chance of losing just to get a pair of shoes?
Yes. Like immediately, yes. Yes, it drives you to join raffles that you don't
Yep.
want to, because you know that these pairs are scarce. Like you can't get them easily. You do get into that, but in saying that,
It
right?
backfires.
Yeah, sometimes
Okay.
you end up with. I mean, it's easy to offload pairs. If you're retail assisting someone, then that's a good thing, right? Like if you're joining, and I've done that multiple times as well. But yeah, you end up with pairs that you 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the line that you're asking yourself, why did I join a raffle? In saying that though, I don't win a lot of raffles, so to me it hasn't backfired that bad yet. I'm always thinking now.
Last year for me, it got to the point that it was like, I just want to hit a number. I just want to see how many raffles I can win in a year. But this year I've been pretty selective. So like there's so many different dunk colorways coming out and so many Jordan 1s. Like I think I've only picked up 1 or 2 Jordan 1 highs this year, just because like I'm sick of all these like weird colors coming out. So I'm being pretty selective, and at the end of the day, I'd rather miss on 5 or 6 like Jordan 1s that are $250 these days and get something that I've been wanting since like late 90s. So that's for me. Like I'd rather keep my money or sell like the pairs behind me that I'm going to offload soon and put that towards something that I've really wanted for a long time. So
Yeah.
because I've already spent the money already, so it doesn't make a difference to me if I sell them full retail and put that money in, like shift it. I'd rather get like that rather than like I've already spent it. Yeah.
I think in that same situation, if you didn't go for the raffle and didn't win the sneaker, you could have had the same money to put toward the same sneaker anyway. So
Yeah,
like it's kind of
exactly
like a
right. That's why this year I've been selective, and I said that when I feel
Which
like
makes
the
sense.
sneak, like the drop fronts is behind me, when they're full, I have to get rid of shoes before I get more, because at the end of the day, it is pretty excessive. To even like I've got so many like dead stock over COVID. Like I was accumulating more than I could wear. Like obviously, what's that, like nearly like over 6 or 7 months, like you can't wear those shoes. So I was accumulating more, and just decided that for personal choice that I'm going to cap myself for a certain number, and from that point on was like get rid of them. So
Yeah, this culture is pretty whacked as well if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like whether you're into retails or you're into reps, us trying to
the whole
acquire as
thing.
many sneakers than we can wear really is a little bit messed up. So,
and it's stupid. Sometimes you're just buying shoes and you don't even know what size you
I
are.
got
Right?
yeah.
like
Hey, like I think for the most part, a lot of us started a collection because of this, right? A lot of us started buying shoes because we couldn't get those pairs when we were younger, right? And then all of a sudden, our own job, and it's suddenly like back.
Still can't get our own fucking
And I
pairs.
feel like for us, I know, like for the most part, I think, man, like I know I need to slow down in terms of how many and what's out there. Like there's a lot of that I love, and I just naturally to shoes, design the shoe and all that sort. The subject
I think the skill is the design subject. So I'm always trying to bring in sneakers into my classes, right?
So trying to innovation behind stuff, but yeah, I remember as a kid, man, like I just every time I saw a shoe and I saw like certain colors like just matching with each other, I was like, I need those. But it is like, you know, there was a point where at the start of the time when I started collecting, I was like, you know, there was always that conversation about reps versus like, you know, authentics. And I remember going back to the Philippines one year, and it kind of made it all clear for me, right? So in the Philippines, like we're still a developing country, like, and there's a lot of kids there just running around who live on the streets, but they're wearing like fly kicks, man. Like
They're wearing J's and Nikes and stuff.
and
then you can't.
real are they fake? Are they real? Are they fake? I remember like asking the actual kid, right? Like on the street, like, hey, I really
love your shoes. Like, why do you like Jordan so much? Why do you like Jordan 4 so much?
And
Just like, look at him.
look how cool they are. Look how awesome they are. And you know, I didn't ask him like if they were fake or not. I was just like, man, if that's what it takes for a kid to love the same thing I love, that's it. Like, each to their own. Like, yeah, full respect to anybody who's collecting whatever, but that kind of hit home for me when I spoke to that kid, right? And it kind of just like, I felt like, oh man, I need to get off my high horse and say, per se, because I'm like, you know, my thought is always just like, man, authentics. But then there's this kid who I know has a family that's living on the streets, rocking some like major heat, like some bread fours that, you know, they weren't real, because, you know, the Jordan symbol on the left
wasn't as prominent as the Jordan symbol got you.
but
you love
he's rocking them, like. So, you know, it's kind of like, it's more to, when you pop those shoes on feet, it's like, right? And I get all the political
Like an absolute
side of
boss.
And yeah, I get the
always, like, majority of us always like, hey man, just buy what you like.
And
I think,
you know, if you got to practice what you preach sometimes, but yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one, you were saying about the, you know, the legality of it and putting people out of business and all that kind of stuff. Which, yeah, I totally understand and respect. But then, see, this is where I get conflicted, because I go, okay, all right, maybe it's, you know, illegal and it's ripping off Nike's design and all that kind of stuff. But then I go, but all these companies are allowing, and I know it's not all the time, and it's kind of getting better at the moment, but they're allowing bots and backdoors and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, how is that?
Trophy room ones.
How is that okay? Like, and this is stuff that I really like have a serious opinion on. Like, how is it allowed that these kids can go into cook groups and then, you know, just type in a program into a raffle and take a lot of the stuff and then just whack money on it? I'm like, isn't that like price gouging? Isn't that supposed to be illegal? But yet, and I wrote a
really
lot
is
of.
illegal as well.
I wrote
They don't care about the culture either.
But
No, and I wrote a lot of emails to Foot Locker and stuff because I was like, I think I'm going to try that. And it just got the biggest runaround from them. So I'm like, well, I don't, you know, like the whole game is just full of corruption and that on each side.
But
So
going back to that bot thing, there's so many different ones out there these days, but it's not as easy as a lot of people think, and it is quite expensive. Like you would
Really?
have to, you would have to have a pretty big bank balance to like buy like 100 pairs and be able to like offload them pretty quickly. A lot of the kids you see on like Facebook groups and stuff like that, they're pretty much running around Sydney or different states just buying up, trying to get like multiple pairs and then adding prices on top, which like they should really just get a job at the end of the day. They could probably like get an education, get a job, and probably make just as much, and do that sort of things. But like Nike don't let, or different brands really do discourage it. It's just that they try to stay a step ahead. Australia, where I've said this many times that we are very unloved. Over in the US, they do have like sneakers app and stuff like that, which does protect it to a certain degree. But over here, like our app, like we get so little stock anyway. So like really like it's.
And we share our stock too, don't we?
Yeah, like with I think Canada and some places in Asia and stuff as well. So it's kind of like, well, disregard the bots because there's hardly any pairs out there to start with. So it really starts at the manufacturer's end, and they need to make more products to fulfill the demand. These days, everybody who has a mobile phone can enter in a raffle, which is opening the accessibility to everybody. And think about it, like, we think there's not that many people, but if you've got like 10,000 plus people in Australia entering for 200 pairs, like, of course, like, it's going to be pretty rare to win something. But that, like, the Foot Locker raffles are pretty good. Like, a lot of people are happy with that. Like the Run Fair, whatever it's called. A lot of people are happy with that. But I feel I feel that the system needs to be improved. But they are increasing products, and that's why a lot of the resale values are dropping, because like it takes years for Nike to get things into production and get them here. But at the moment, everything's so delayed that everything's arriving at the same time. And so I think that everybody is kind of spoiled for choice at the moment. So I feel that a lot of people, that's driving the price down. But when everything catches up, I feel that it's going to go back up again.
Do you think the price would be different if it weren't for people looking to sell them so heavily, though?
Yeah, I feel, the price definitely would be. Like, people are like buying like products that are like seriously like really ugly, right? And just because it is that model of like say Dunks, they're terrible quality. Some of them are terrible looking, like rainbow colors and stuff. And you're like, well, who would actually want to buy this unless it wasn't like a pair sitting, you know? Like those barbershops I had, they're okay, but they are sitting on shelves in smaller sizes around Sydney. So,
do you think that's the solution though, increasing the stock? Because I think one of the many reasons we're in this game as well is the rarity sometimes, right? Like we want something that's hard to get, right? Especially like, and I'm not speaking for you, James, but looking at what the type of reps that you're getting, those are usually the really hard to get ones, like 7-Eleven.
Yes.
I mean, if it becomes widely available, I'm guessing our interest will go down as well, right? Like, let's be honest with ourselves. That's what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah. Well, that's
not for me personally, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I feel
where you're coming from as well.
Yeah,
I think for the most part, a lot of the thing it's chase, right? And you know, there are people out there who are just like, you know, if I can't get it, I can't get it. Cool, let's move on to the next one. But there's also a number of collectors who are in the game because of nostalgia, right?
I know for me, majority of my collection is
based on things
I couldn't get when I was a kid.
Right. So again, I'm just going to harp on about the penny one. So when that comes out, man, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to try and get a pair of those. It is. But definitely, I think I can empathize with what all Nick is saying. Yeah. But yeah, it is. I think, you know, if you increase the stock, you know, it's a good question. Like, will we continue to buy them? Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for the most part, with Nikes and Jordans, you know, the limitedness of those sneakers
is what drives
the market, but
also what drives a number of younger collectors
who are just starting out.
Get that clout.
I've come to the point where my collection is like, and stuff. But I've come to like, you know, years ago when I just decided, man, I need to get back into silhouettes, and you know, lucky that, you know, and brands like Asics and are fairly easy, not many are kind of like looking at it the way that they look at Nikes and Jordans, right? So some really good quality kick. I think there's kicks for everyone, right? So,
but I feel that also, like, from the sustainability side of things, like if Nike for everything was to increase production, then there's going to be a lot of waste, right? It is a business at the end of the day, and and the environment
Yeah.
is important, right? So
Have you guys tried, say, looking at other brands or copying other brands? Because I feel like, and again, like I'm a new collector. This is why I have these discussions with different people in the game. But I mean, I think one thing that we do have when we purchase sneaker is getting that high, right? That's what we get out of it. Have you guys tried going with other brands? Because based on my experience, right? Like I tried going with other brands and I feel like I still get that high. And it's sort of like satisfying. And in some occasions as well, like copying something under retail still gives me that high. So I mean, instead of like, I'm not saying you guys should stop buying reps. Like obviously you do your own thing, you do your own game, but have you guys looking to going down that path as well? Or is it really just mainly Nike?
I personally only collect Nikes and Jordans. I won't touch anything else because nothing else tickles my pickles like a pair of Jordan does. And like, I'm in the same boat as G in the sense of like, I like what I like. I don't. You find me someone who likes sevens as much as I do, and we can have a chat. Because like I love Jordan 7s are my favorite Jordan, and like they're an underrated Jordan that no one cares about. Like
I don't have one myself.
I'm Jordan 7's biggest fanboy. Like I love them. They're comfy, they're durable, they look awesome. I love them. So like that's one of those things where like I think sneakers for me personally are all about how they feel on my feet. Like for instance, walking to Coles the other day, I turned to my right and I caught myself in my reflection wearing a pair of Jordans and I felt like a boss motherfucker. Like it was a pair of beat up bloodlines that are covered in dirt, but I felt like king of the world, man. Hey, like, and that's the thing that gets me the most. Like, I don't care about hype.
Yeah.
I don't care about clout. I don't care about limited availability. If you could give me that pair of off-whites up there at retail and there's a million pairs available, I'd still buy them regardless. I think they're cool because they're cool. But at the same time, like the Raptors beside them, are one of my favorite pairs in the world, and they're cracked. And when the 7s come out this year at the end, like when they re-release them, I'm gonna go for a pair. There is no chance I'm not going for a pair of Raptors. Yeah. So like, I just like how shoes make me feel, regardless. And if Nike was to swamp the market with 10 billion pairs, I'd still buy them regardless because I like how they make me feel.
And some of that stuff has that real nostalgia stuff. Like, the Raptors. I still have this pair that's really perfect. I think what's that? 12. Yeah, that's awesome. I love 7. And the N7. Like,
nice.
Love that pair, man.
But yeah, there's different stuff. Like, that I like that are really unknown, like a few things that I kept, like what are these, the Adidas Temper Runs, which are just like totally unknown and no one really cares about, but I'm like, that's just awesome. I think that looks really good. And these, what were these, like the Mastermind collaboration? Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. So there's all, like little different stuff. Like to remember the Alamo?
Kamikazes.
the world,
So there's all, there's little different things here and there.
Yeah.
I definitely, keep an eye on. Or if I have them in my collection, I might like keep them. Adidas have some really good stuff.
I'm super one-eyed. So, I'm super one-eyed. Don't care about any other brand. In fact, blasphemy if you enter my group chat, the Sneakerheads group chat with any other brand. Don't even think about wearing Adidas socks, man. Ooh,
Hated my posts.
Let alone low tops. You come in here with low tops and Adidas's, man, you're getting the backhand.
But then it's like, my appreciation for some sneakers, like the technology and that as well. Like Adidas, have some really good tech in their shoes. like Adidas Fortune and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
From my point of view, like I have started to move away from Nike and Yeezy and Adidas just for the fact that like not because they're hard to get and stuff like that. It's just the comfort wise. Like
You're an old man, JP.
Old man sneakers.
Yeah, you're getting older, mate.
But yeah, like going from those GT2s, and then I'm like, oh, they're so comfy, and then putting on Dunks on in the afternoon, I'm like, fuck, why do I do it to my feet?
Spend a day of Jordan 1s, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that. But yeah, so like that's the reason. Like for my Jordans now, I'm only gonna go for like OG colors coming out. So like obviously the fire red freeze coming out, that's a definite cop, and just again nostalgia. Pairs I've had in the past have crumbled. So it's like now they're rebringing things out. Like we can get them and actually wear them again, rather than worrying that if you step out of the house that they're going to fall apart. I think that's a huge thing. I feel that that's going to drive a lot of people to buy like older pairs and that nostalgic feeling, bring it back. Yeah.
I guess that's why retro is so popular, really.
Yeah.
The Cardinal 7s are coming back, are they?
They are. Reportedly so. I'm not sure if that's actually confirmed yet. I'm not sure if the Raptors actually confirmed it either, but yeah.
Anything with Nike Air on the back, I'm up for.
Yeah, Julian, if you ever sling those ambushes anywhere, man, you let me know. I love them, man. Like they're the coolest pair of dunks, man. I love all the colorways. They're awesome.
Oh, they're so comfortable. The leather is like A1. Just like the women's releases in general, like the leather's just so good. It's amazing.
Yes, I've seen those Alila May green, the like jade green ones, the green jade green ones. The quality of them looks amazing.
They're wild, yeah.
Yeah.
What were the ones that you wanted to get, Dylan? With that chick that you're obsessed with?
Billie Eilish.
Man, I hate 14s, and I would still stick my balls in her pair of 14s. Man, I love that shit. But I love it. I love those. I love her. I love her kickspin. Yeah. I'm not so much a big fan of the mushroom ones in the situation, like the ones she did with the Air Force ones. I'm not so much a fan of them. It's too much strap for me. But yeah, I like her other stuff.
There's some low Air Force ones coming out that doesn't look too bad.
No.
Really?
I really want them
look
to
real
retro
good. Like real it's not like patchwork kind of thing.
These vibes are nice.
But this is when they had the shitty hard leather on the fives.
Oh, yeah.
Like plastic.
Are they legit?
Yeah, these are one of my favourite shoes of all time.
Nice.
So when I could get these, I definitely held on to those. I have like,
What year?
a lot of... This is... 13s, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
James, have you thought about like doing legit checks for people? Since you've been around reps, well, a lot of reps, right? So surely you're able to tell, or at least have some knowledge about the difference between reps and authentic.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, an interesting one. Talking to someone about that today, like, that an interesting thing about being into reps is you get to know, like, the differences and that sort of stuff. I don't know, like, I'd honestly have to try it. I'd have to try it with some blind pairs that I didn't know what they were to see, because people say it's so difficult to actually legit check and to know 100% what you're looking for, because some stuff looks so good now that I see it and people ask for a legit check, and I'm like, I actually find that really hard to know.
Yeah, like Travis Scott ones.
Because there's this video that's being viral as well about that eBay legit checker wherein she flips she or he, whatever her gender is, she flips the shoes and then looks at them quickly and then immediately can judge the shoe as legit.
Oh yeah.
fake. Like,
And that was like an unreleased pair. That wasn't actually like the actual pair either, as far as I understand.
she was given. I saw that she was given with maybe a Travis Scott Air Max 1. I think so. And then she
Yeah.
passed it as legit. So I don't know what her point of comparison is at that
Oh,
point,
if she can,
right?
if she can touch,
My
it's
understanding.
real.
And the hard thing is, there's so many like batches now, and updated pairs, and so many different versions of different shoes when it comes to reps. So to know what you'd be looking for with every single one, it would just be nearly impossible.
And when the flaws get noticed as well too, like all the rep companies, they go through and change those things anyway, like pretty quickly with the next batch that comes through. So like it gets harder and harder.
They're getting quicker and quicker with doing that now too. Like updating stuff.
Unless you see those Trevor Scott pairs from Wish, as Julian was laughing at before, those ones that are like smooth, like plastic, but the brown looks not suede. Like they're obviously shit. But like some of the other ones, man, you can't tell these days. Hey, like they're getting it so close these days. It's hard. It's so hard, and that's I can see why people get scared about that, and why the worry is if people are going to sell these things as real sneakers. Like even people who like James, and like I've still been involved in reps quite heavily as well too. Like I've been through every Reddit sneaker, Reddit rep sneaker page, that kind of stuff, and like surf heaps rep pages as well too. So like I've got a pretty good experience in that kind of stuff, and it's super hard for me to tell. Like unless they're completely so obvious that like a blind monkey could tell. Sometimes some of them are super close.
Yeah, I get anxiety as well. Like especially if I purchased a considerable amount on resale. Like you get that anxiety, and then I do my research, and then I look at all the videos, look at the legit and fake comparison, just to make sure that I have the right pair as well.
Yeah, I think if you find the guy,
Especially if you're buying off-whites at the moment.
I shouldn't be buying off-whites. Is that what you're saying?
I was like, if you're buying off-whites at the moment, like off-white Chicagos are like, well, what, 89 grand or something like that at the moment?
12 to 15.
Not
some of them.
Not that considerable
Jesus.
amount.
Yeah, like anything off-white at the moment, like if you spend that sort of coin, you want to make absolutely damn sure what you're getting is what you're getting.
Legit, yeah.
yeah,
But
there's
even-
a good. I was going to say, there's a good guy on Instagram, YouTube. His channel is called Santana's Room, and he has so many authentic like pairs. It's not even funny, but he gets reps now and compares them and does the real versus rep. And when you see them side by side, some of them you go, "Oh man, that is so close." I would
The
never.
problem with the side by side comparison as well in terms of culture, right? Like of the rep culture, because I've been looking at other reviewers as well. Them getting rep pairs. Obviously, it's probably seeded to them by those Chinese sellers as well. They're biased. Like they're showing
Absolutely.
like I've watched one where
Yeah.
they're showing the off-white 2s, right? And they're really biased because you can tell. Like I can already tell as soon as they pull it out. I look at the midsole on the off-white 2s, and you see them bragging that it's very close. It's really this good. This is a really good pair. But come on, man! Like I have my pair. I can compare it with my pair, and it's not even close. They seem to skip on those obvious flaws
Yeah,
of the
there's
sneakers on review.
There's very few people in the community that I would trust to watch, because it's just as corrupt as, they have as much potential to be corrupt as anyone. And there's a lot of them that, they're getting free pairs, they're getting,
Exactly,
boxes
yeah.
and pairs. But those people, I eventually, I don't know, I see it and I just go, I'm not interested. Like, you're just shoving stuff down my throat. Like some of these dudes do, 3 or 4 reviews a day. And I'm like, you're not unbiased in that. And you're getting this stuff for free. So even if it's, you're not trying to say that it's exactly 1 for 1, but it's just awesome and dope. I'm like, yeah, well, of course. Like, you're not paying for anything. So go out and spend your own money on something and then give me a review on it. Like, MK the Truth, if you know MK the Truth. Like,
yeah, I watched him. He's the worst one that I've seen, actually.
Oh, he was good in the beginning, like when he first started out, but then he just became, pumping out shoe after shoe after shoe after shoe.
He's the one I'm referring to with the Off-White. Like, he's actually that person that I've watched showing me Off-White, saying it's 1-to-1.
And they're paying him to do the reviews. So I'm like, how can...
And like 1-to-1 doesn't... 1-to-one's a myth, essentially, realistically speaking. Like, there is really no 1-to-1, because even legitimate pairs aren't perfect. Like, as Julian said before, the Lightning 4s were absolutely abysmal. Like, that's some terrible quality control. So, like, it's hard to be 1-to-1 a situation, because, like, Nike pairs aren't perfect either. So, like, anyone who tells you 1-to-1 is blowing smoke out your butt. Like, that's not possible.
Yeah, I was doing a fair bit of research before this podcast as well. I think what everyone is saying is mostly on the legit checking side, right? What they're saying is if you get a rep, you can see consistent flaws across all of the reps.
Yeah, they do big batches, and they'll run a whole batch, and they'll have the same floor across them.
Yeah, saying that retail. Oh, yes, it's true that retails have differences as well, like all of them, but at least there's more variation with the difference on retail. Whereas if you're looking at reps, it's consistent in terms of what's wrong with it. It's consistent across the board.
Yeah, you get.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
There's a guy. Sorry, go ahead.
Go on, JP.
I was just going to say that there's a guy who sells a lot of PEs. His Instagram is, I think, Depeche Mode. So he sells a lot of rare stuff, and now he started posting like Instagram like live feeds and stuff showing like the real expensive shoes versus like the UAs. And there are some like telltales that he does show, but there's some things that he won't say is on the real thing because he doesn't want the UA manufacturers to start putting them into the shoes. So there's some stuff that he won't say, but you can tell some of the like telltales are like consistent across the same shoe but different models of the same shoe. So you can tell that.
Let's face it, right? Like no one's gonna drop down, look at your feet and look at all those tiny details to say you're wearing.
And if they do, they're probably really weird.
Well, that's just insecurity, right? Like who cares what's on someone's feet?
Yeah.
Right?
I feel that most of the people's concerns are like buying fakes.
So you guys.
Yeah, but I feel that a lot of people's like really against UAs because the potential to actually buy them, not realizing they are that. Rather than walking up to somebody saying, "Hey, it's your choice," like you're wearing them, like there's a lot of women I guess out there who buy like LV handbags that aren't real, like, and because they just don't want to go out and spend 10K or whatever it is on like a handbag, which, tell you the truth, like some of them like it's just a status symbol, and some people just like the colors. Don't get me wrong, but yeah,
it's like looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Have you guys what were you guys because I think the problem is again that fear with other collectors, right? Like getting fakes and they have this straight maybe sometimes animosity towards people buying fake, right? Like how do you think they should be educated around this, or do you think it's a personality thing that there's just people like that out there?
I think it's their personal perception of the situation, and that's their own freedom of choice in the circumstance. I think some of the comments, especially directed toward James down below, are unnecessary because at the end of the day, as we've been seeing, he loves sneakers just the same as everybody else in this thing. And like some of the comments from some people are just unnecessary. They're just stabbing at him for the sake of stabbing at him. And like I don't think that's fair at all in any circumstance. And like there are a lot of people who are consistent about it too. And it's like something that we've mentioned a lot in the admin side of things as well too for us. Like it is a constant thing that we have to be aware of that is happening as well too. So like I don't think there's any sort of education or like offering someone a different perception of reps is going to change their mind. I think that's their opinion and that's how they're going to be. And like I personally don't mind if that's how they're going to be. I just don't think they should outwardly insult people like James based on what people choose to put on their feet. I just don't think that's okay because James himself is a lovely person. I've got like he's not a bad person because he chooses to buy cheap, but like buy reps. You shouldn't insult him just because he's that choice, and I don't think that's fair.
Yeah,
But should we be recommending people to buy UAs instead of buying the real thing? If they could afford the real thing.
I mean, I personally don't think we should be encouraging people to spend thousands of dollars on like replaceable footwear either. So like, I don't think it's justifiable to spend $2,000 on a pair of Jordan 1s. It's probably worth like $150 in materials.
But I don't think
that's okay either.
I mean, like from the perspective of saying to people like, don't even bother trying to get $150 pair of shoes because they're going to sell out and just go and buy like from China instead. I really don't think we should be actively telling people to do that. But we should be educating people, I believe.
I think from both sides, right? I mean, the problem is like when you're trying to convince the other side and it's really not going to happen. People will go to reps without convincing, like they're going to make their own realization. And then people buying legit pairs as well shouldn't be like it. I think the reasoning like why you buying $2,000 shoes is the same question as why you buying reps, right? Because it makes them happy. I don't think it's all about the monetary value of it. It's more of the choice of it. I think that's in my opinion, it's just two different sides with differing opinions about what makes them happy in the sneaker culture. And I don't think we should be convincing each side or one or the other to jump on the other side. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I think that's when the problem happens, is when we try and convince and justify and maybe get them to side with you. You know what I mean? Like, I think we should stay in our own lane. It's a healthier sort of like look into it. You know what I mean? Like you go do your own thing buying reps. People buying legit can do their own thing buying legit. People that likes Asics and New Balance can do their own shit. And people with Jordan 7 can love Jordan 7 as much as they want, right?
That's what I think stickers should be about too in this situation. Like I think people should just be able to love what they love regardless of how they choose to buy it or what money they spend on it. And like I see where you guys are coming from, but my opinion is never going to change in regards to reps, and I don't expect your opinion to change either. Like I'm not going to sit here and say to Julian or anyone else in the situation like you should change your mind because XYZ reason. Like I don't think you should change your mind in this situation at all by any means either. Like that's your personal opinion and you're entitled to that. I personally just don't agree with you, and that's absolutely fine as well too.
Yeah, I mean, you can quietly disagree with someone. I think it's when you start airing things out in a different way, because again, this is two different groups, right? Even if you're just talking to, let's say, James, you're not just talking to James. You're talking to people that loves reps, that supports reps, right? And it's the same thing with, let's say, Julian, who's a massive collector. If you're talking to him about justifying reps, obviously all the other people that are into collecting legits will side with him, and then it becomes sort of like that weird push and pull between two sides. I think we should I mean, again, it's just appreciating all sneakers, whatever they are, really is what we should be. We should be doing.
And I was definitely guilty of doing that, 100%.
Absolutely, you were.
Yeah, and then I just kind of went, what are you doing? Like, have a look at yourself. But now, I've stopped doing that entirely and just show. And I've said to Dylan a lot, I'm like, I just post on feed now of stuff that I like. I don't respond to anybody's stuff, and there's only a very few that, give outright hate and judgment. I don't respond, and if the admins of that group or any other group were to come to me and say, can you stop? I'd be like, yeah, cool. Because it's also about, you're exactly right, like, it's just being confident in what you wear, enjoying what you wear, and you don't really have to prove anything to anyone. Like, just enjoy stuff. And that's the thing with this whole political stuff that's happened in sneaker culture the last few years. I'm like, when it comes to actually wearing stuff in real life, no one cares. Just enjoy stuff. You don't have to, you don't have to prove anything to anyone, and that's it. Maybe now the only time that I will not push reps anymore, but if people come to me, privately, and not just through that group, but Instagram and whatever, and want to know where they can buy, I'll like point them to a few trusted, sellers that I know do good quality stuff. But other than that, I'm just like, I just want to wear and show shoes. And there's a few people, in the group that show a lot of consistent hate, and I just don't respond anymore. I'm like, I'm not interested in that. That's bringing a whole nother level of hate and immaturity and judgment that doesn't have anything to do with the shoes. Like,
yeah, and I don't think you should stop either. I mean, it's just that, again, I think going back to my point, let's probably just post something and try not to attack another group or convince another group, for that matter, as well. And that goes both ways, really.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
as an admin of this group and have been admin for a real long time, I'm a staunch defender of James and also Julian's perspectives as well too. Like, I want to try and support both sides of this fence, because I don't think either party is right or wrong. Like, I respect Julian and that kind of stuff in this situation. If he doesn't like reps, and I respect that because of his collection and that kind of stuff, and I get that. But I also want to respect James as well too, and allow him to have his own freedom to post in this situation. And I'm like, we've already asked James not to post a couple of times about what he does and that kind of stuff as well too, and he's been cool with it. So like, we've already like limited the situation, what does go on the page and that kind of stuff about the like rep discussions. And every time there's like a pending post about it, we veto it and that kind of stuff if it comes from anywhere else. So like, it is one of those things that we have to consciously keep an eye on, because of how people's strong opinions can get overwhelming at times. And like, it's one of those things where
they listen to this, right? So at least they can have that perspective and hear it out from you guys as well.
Well, honestly, for a while there, when James first started posting in the group, there was probably like a 3 or 4 month period where like every day between Oliver, Micah, and myself, we would get 2 or 3 inboxes from somebody every day. It was pretty consistent. It's usually the same people, and they're usually up in arms about what James has to say, regardless of whether he's just posting an on-feet picture or selling air quotes reps and stuff like that. It's pretty consistently the same people, and it's one of those things where we don't want to deal with it, so we had to put a stop to it because of how vocal the community is, in the sense of like, the majority of people on the page are authentic, like, buyers only, and that's totally fine. So because of the vast majority of people are against James in the situation, so we have to cater to them as well too, because they are the loudest voice. But I'm also of the opinion that James should be allowed to post in this situation as well too, just because he likes shoes. So like it's a really hard line to walk for us in this situation because we want to try and keep everyone happy as much as possible, and like we have a pretty huge group considering like we just post on feed pictures. There's no sales posts and that kind of
Private
stuff. Like we have a huge following. Yeah, exactly. So like we want to try and keep everyone happy.
How it is now is pretty good. Like it's only a very, very small minority that I don't know want to laugh at every point, and it's literally less than a handful of people. So yeah, it's pretty good. Then and I own my part in all of that too. Like it's taken
Mate,
me.
you're as aggressive as a militant Christian in that situation sometimes, man. Like there's many times when you definitely need to tone back a bit, my friend. And I say that with love.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's fine. But it's a really interesting. It's given me a lot to reflect on too about the sneaker culture in general and how it can affect you these days with everything, from resellers to bots to reps to authentics to this to that. I just go, that's how the sneaker culture has kind of changed so much. And it used to be literally that, everything that you wanted was on store shelves. There was no real hierarchy or this or that so I had to take a look at myself as well and go, why am I trying to prove myself or defend myself? And no one in real life actually cares. Why don't I just enjoy what I'm wearing?
Wait, I have a question with that actually. Listen that. Sorry, yeah, it's like to everybody else in the situation, not to you, James. In the situation moving forward from here, if I buy a pair of reps, would the public perception of that situation change? Like, especially if you're someone like yourself, Julian, who is like very much against reps, would your opinion of myself change in that circumstance if I was to buy reps? Because it probably will be at some point. Like, I don't care actually if your opinion does change, but I'm just curious if your perception of me would change in that circumstance based on my purchase.
For me, like, I feel that it's your decision. What do you want to do? But I just feel that we shouldn't be promoting and encouraging it to the wider community. That's just my point of view. Yeah.
No, I get that. So like in that circumstance, like I would still be open about it. Like if I'm going to buy a pair of reps for the Ishod Walker dunks because I think they're awesome, but I don't have $700 to spare on a pair of dunks.
They're awesome.
So like I'm going to buy a pair of reps, and I will mention they are reps. So like, but at the same time, like I don't want to get everyone up in arms about it because I'm an admin at the same time. So it's a complicated line for us in the situation to walk.
Like,
I'd say you should disclose that still. I mean, like you just tell people that it's rep. You know what I mean?
Like it's a difficult line to walk in this situation because like, and people in some regard know who like all of us are in some regard too. Like we have some sort of following in, like not following, but we are known in the page and like in a wider community as well too. All of us are. So like we all have some sort of like reputation and standing amongst this culture as well too.
I think based on what I've observed with the group, right? I know there are a few in there that would really bully or attack you or be aggressive about it. But in general, I think, and I'm not speaking for Micah, right? But I have spoken to him as well, and I have spoken to some of the admins as well. I think in general,
you had him on last week, didn't you?
Yeah, people don't really care whether they're rep or authentic.
Yeah.
I think there was just one point, and I'm not speaking for everyone, right? And this is just, again, my observation. There's one point wherein people that were buying authentic felt like it's being disrespectful by saying, again, it goes back to attacking the other side. Like if you're saying why people that buys authentic pairs are wrong in that situation when they can get reps, I think that becomes a problem.
Agreed.
So I think if you mind your own business and you disclose that you're wearing fakes or you're posting fakes, I don't think it's a big deal with the group. I think, again, the reason why our group is successful like that with the number, and obviously you get a few people here and there that would have different opinion, but I think a lot of us there are mature enough to understand that it doesn't matter, because in the grander scale of things, no one gives a shit about our group. Like no one, like you guys said,
Amen.
like no one gives a shit what we put on our feet. No one gives a shit how many pairs we have. It's just us.
Most people think we're stupid.
Yeah, most people think we're a bunch of idiots for buying that amount of sneakers. And the weird thing is, as a culture, we're attacking each other, basically. I mean, and it's all because of that difference of opinion. So, in saying that though, I don't think, for me personally, if you're asking me personally, I don't have any problems with it. Like even you as an admin of the group buying reps, I really don't give a shit. But if you start saying like everyone else should buy reps, or everyone else are idiots for paying like $1,000 or $2,000 for a pair of shoes, then I'm gonna have an issue with that. Like that to me will become a problem, because then now you're not attacking people's preference. You're attacking sneakers. You're attacking
I get that. Yeah. And like I don't really care if someone's got the means the means to buy $2,000 pair of shoes, and they can do that without breaking their bank. That's absolutely fine. But like in my circumstance, I got 2 kids and 1 income. Yeah. Like my choices are I buy reps, or I miss out, or I don't. Like I know missing out is part of the game, and I get that. But like there are some shoes that like are incredibly difficult to get, and the only way to get them if you miss them is to pay resale.
Yeah.
So like my choices are I spend $600 on a pair of Dunks, or I go out and spend $230 on a pair of reps, and then I spend the rest of the money on taking my kids somewhere. So like it's more important for me personally to do things with my family and that kind of stuff than just to go out and flash a pair of $2,000 pair of shoes. Like I've got the flashy kicks, and it was a waste. Like they're cool and I love them, but it's just a waste for me personally. Like I personally wish I would have spent that money on something else. But I also understand that like people like Paolo, he spends an awful lot of money on shoes, and if he has the means to do so, go for gold. Like I'm never gonna tell him, nah man, don't do that, that's stupid, because it's his choice, man. It's his money. If he's got the means to do that, go hard. Like
and I think even like sometimes it's not even like financial situation. I think even if you have that money, you're probably not the type of person to do that anyway. Like you're not gonna spend like $8,000 or $15,000 for an off-white Chicago's, right? So I mean, it's just it depends. It really, again, it's just the type of people that are in the culture. Like some people will do that, some people won't. Some people will go reps, some people will go authentic. So.
And like from my perspective, I see a lot of people living outside of what their means would appear from the outward perspective to buy these sneakers to keep up with everybody else, because that's what they're expected to do in the scene. And like I don't think, and like I'm not judging people, and there's no one in particular, but like some people from outward perspective look like they're spending way too much than what they can actually afford just because they're expected to. And like that feels bad for me personally, because like I struggle as well too. So like it just seems like you're digging yourself a bigger hole just for the sake of it. Yeah, but I also can't comment on people's life circumstances. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't think that's exclusive to sneakers. Like
no, absolutely not.
You can go to other things as well that people spend.
People drive around in flash cars, but it's all financed and they say it's all paid for, stuff like that.
It's a very unhealthy culture if you think about it, because again, we're trying to cop as much as we can. I think we should be trying to figure out to make it healthier, really. Like be with like G here, who never pays resale and just slowly builds up his collection.
Peter Mayfield's another one as well too. Like I don't know, I know most of these guys, you would know who he is, but like he's
swapping.
Yeah, he has one of the biggest collections I know, and he's never paid resale for a single pair. He's got some like killer pairs, like Bred Ones and stuff like that. It's like, it is definitely possible. And like, gee, honestly, man, like that's wicked. You've collected all your sneakers retail, man. Like that's awesome, man. Hats off to you, dude. Like you are one of the unicorns in this situation, man. Honestly, like there's not many
follow
people
him
that
on
do that
Instagram.
stuff, man. Yeah, I will, man. Honestly.
But honestly, like my collection, like maybe it's like two.
No,
or
it's
three,
like
like
just
2%.
fortunate.
Now go on, G. We know you're. It takes you a while to get to us.
Yes. Bad. But yeah, no, like just saying, it's just really fortunate that I was able to pick up the kick that I did. You know, and it took me a while to actually get started, and I wanted to get started because I eventually wanted to start my collection, but I also wanted to ensure that like financially stable, career was stable, to get married, all that sorts of stuff, all the big
life stuff.
and then started it all, right? But yeah, very, very to get what I have. But people
Tend to
the sneaker is the vehicle to get
another person wearing it, right?
and that's
Always been something that's
Agreed.
Again, I come back to my students because it's them every day. But it's something that I always preach to my kids, right? To my students, is just like, it doesn't matter if one kid is wearing like a GR from Foot Locker that he just picked up last week, but look how much he how cool he is wearing new kicks, right? And I think I
tend to forget
that just because
when we're in social media
platform social, like everything is about clout now. Like everything is about like, what do you have? Okay, so then I'll respect you. It's like, like big, and like you've got all these awesome collaborations, and if you do so be it. But I think a lot of people do forget that right, you make you.
Yeah,
and it's
You
just
rock
something
it.
that I think a lot of people need to remember, in a sense. 100%, right? Because
you rock the shoes.
right?
The shoes not
But
rocking.
yeah, I think a lot of people tend to forget that aspect of. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as I was saying, a lot of people do tend to forget about
about that because they get like clouded with all the like,
man,
I spent like $2,000 on a pair of shoes.
is like,
Yeah.
clearly, what I mean, but yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's a crazy thing that we're doing, boys. You know it.
But you're exactly right. And that's kind of, been one of the things that's, kept me in the rep scene as well as, still having retail, is also the people in it. Like, I've met a lot of really good people. I've had really good contact with people who buy reps, and it's not so much about the shoes, it's like those conversations about why and what you're into and all that sort of stuff. Like, and that's the thing with me, it's always about that. That's the old school stuff. Like, the shoes themselves are good, but without the human kind of element, I just know it's all just kind of meaningless. Like, so if I see someone out in public, and in Canberra there's not a lot of sneakerheads I see around, the fact that they're just wearing something that I think, they probably put a bit of thought into that, or they might know something about shoes, I'm like, that's more interesting to me than the shoe. And the rep scene has been really good to just expand that. Like, I don't know, they're all just sneakerheads and enjoying stuff. And
I got a good example of that. I live in Toowoomba. There is like maybe half a dozen sneakerheads in this town. Otherwise, it's full of old people and rednecks. And I was walking through Kmart one day, and there was a young Sudanese kid sitting on the trolley bay, and he had a pair of really bad off-white reps. Like, they were clearly reps, real shocking quality. And I eyed him off from a distance, and he came inside, and I was standing at the front waiting for my wife, and he came up to me and was like, "Oh, how you going, man? Like, I love your shoes. Like, are you a reseller?" And I said, "No, man. Like, I don't resell at all. I just collect." And as soon as I said that, he basically, his eyes lit up and he was just like, oh man, I'm like, and I said to my guy, I got a pair of shoes, I got these pairs of shoes, I showed him my collection, that kind of stuff. And he called over like 4 of his mates and we had a chat for like 20 minutes, half an hour standing at the front. And they couldn't believe that like someone that just owned these pairs of shoes and liked to wear them. Like they were so impressed that just, I didn't think anything of it myself, but like just seeing their excitement, that kind of stuff, that like there was just a pair, like that's just a pair of shoes. Realistically speaking, they were so enthusiastic and so happy to see someone wearing a pair. But like, yeah, I stood there for 20 minutes and like that's cool for me. Like interacting with those people was awesome. Like hearing their stories, hearing why they love shoes and hearing that kind of stuff was like, it made my day, man.
Yeah. And I think that's one of my big worries, because with this culture, right, you see more and more of these kids thinking that it is about the clout and why are you wearing those shoes and they're really expensive, sort of thing. It's slowly, I mean, moving away from the sneakers. It's more of just the clout and the price and the hype that you can get out of it. And I think I mean, I'm not saying everyone, but it feels like majority of them are like that at the moment. Hopefully it changes.
Like I'm personally a victim of it somewhat in some regard too. Like, don't get me wrong, like I love Off-White. Like my favorite pair of shoes outside my 7s are the Off-White UNCs. Like I love them. They were the first pair of shoes I ever laid on when I first got into sneakers, and I saw the price tag and I was like, yeah, no thank you. But like it's one of those things where I love them regardless, and like the clout that comes with them is already there anyway. And like, sure, I do like that. Don't get me wrong. How could you not? Like that is a portion of any reason why anyone buys a hype sneaker. Exactly. So like it's hard to escape that in the situation when we're surrounded by social media, as G said, like it's everywhere and like you can't escape it, and it's easy enough to like having a bad day, man, chuck a picture of your shoes up and you get 35,000 likes or whatever, or some crap on Instagram. That makes you feel way better. You get 20 likes on Instagram, on the Facebook page, just makes you feel better. And like generally speaking, the more dollar value attached to the shoe, the more likes you get, the more interest you get, because people are like, oh my God, that's so hype. Yeah. So like that feels it as well too.
And it's what happens, I think, like with a lot of cultures in general, like they kind of get eaten up by the bigger culture of, you know, capitalism and how much money you've spent and hype and the status and all that stuff that comes with it. And it kind of, it sucks up smaller cultures and turns it into something else. Because I'm like, you know, honestly, the sneaker culture was so different. Like I remember growing up that, you know, these shoes weren't really that popular amongst the general public. You walked into any, I still remember walking into any shoe store and having everything on the shelf, and a lot of stuff went to like outlets and that. So it was much more like, it was a proper subculture where it was like, we just wear this stuff because we really like it. Like, and now what's become of it is just crazy. I'm like, this stuff just blew up beyond anything.
Made, I think.
Well, this kind of segues into another question. G, you'd be the perfect example, and you two guys as well too, Julian. I know you spent reselling some stuff, but like, G, what's your most hype pair, and I put that in air quotes, that you've got for retail?
You were talking about the UNC Off-Whites. I got those I won those on a supply store raffle. So like
They're back there somewhere.
Damn, man.
Yeah, I got the I got raffle, and it was one of those pairs. You know, I'll go knowing I probably won't get it. I entered, and I think I made 2 entries, so my best mate and myself entered, and you know, I got the supply store. Unfortunately, didn't get it, but my best mate like called me up and was like, "What does this mean? Like, what does this eat?" There's no clue what's going on, right?
Like,
what does this eat?
Read it. Okay, cool. Does that mean that you get the shoe for free? No.
that means one, but I still pay. But that was one of those like really awesome wins, especially knowing
That's a wicked win.
back. Yeah, the big one I would say that I have. There are a few have those. I just be wearing all of my kit. It's just the nature of my work, just once a week at the moment. But yeah, but I do every
Something I'm gonna wear.
And then see question you, Julian, and I'll ask you next. Old Man Sneaks, what's your?
Probably mine. Like depends. Like there's difference. I feel it's difference between like hype and dollar value. But like I'll go with both. I'd say probably the biggest dollar value currently that I won at retail was probably the Kobe Grinches.
Yep, mate, they climbed hard.
Yeah, quickly. So that's probably like the highest value that I've won. But like I've won like Fear of Gods, multiple pairs of those. Like I've got 30 pairs of Jordan 1s that I've got for retail.
Yeah.
Like university blue 4s, like I had some of those, like patent breads.
True, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I've got quite a lot of hype stuff. Like dunks, obviously, I've won multiple of those. Like, but
You got most of the ambushes too, don't you?
just one of them. I've just got the pink one. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're the nice pair too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the best, I reckon. Like I won the Mummy SB Dunks last year.
Yep.
So I entered in that competition for, I think it was, who's that people down? Evolve store. So I did the full carving of the pumpkin and everything like that, and I won my size to buy. So that's pretty big, especially size 14, which is like pretty rare out there.
Cool. Well, for me, I guess my only big win was fairly recent. It's the Jordan 2 Unions.
Oh.
So,
Have you got them?
yeah, I won them off supply store. But the funny thing is, I've already bought for resale because I was already preparing to lose.
Do you have your pair? Do you have your pair in hand, man?
I don't have it with me right now. But yeah.
Damn, they look awesome, man. They are one of the nicest pairs to come out this
really
year. And the AIM and however you say that, they look wicked too.
The
Yeah.
J
Well, the
Balvin's.
Amamanier ones, I managed to cop from the Amamanier website. So
Yeah,
I guess
cop
that
there
counts
first.
as a win. So
Yeah, that's
that
a
was
wicked
big
win.
And Joe Fresh Goods, 990 B3, I think, but only because no one's going hard for them, which is a win for me. So yeah, I have a few decent wins, I guess.
Have you seen the Balvin? Is it Balvin?
The
shoes?
Jordan 2.
Yeah, J Balvin.
That good.
Yeah, they're a must.
Retail or bust for me on that one. Not gonna pay resale, maybe. I don't know yet, but I'm thinking if I don't win retail.
What about the new Louis Vuitton off-white?
Yeah, they're invites only, right? I don't think you can just purchase that. I think you have to be a loyal LV customer.
Yeah.
What do they even look like? LV.
But there's new colorways.
They're kind of like
they look
just
good.
like a off-white Air Force One, but with Louis Vuitton patterns and stuff on them.
Yeah, monograms and
In monograms,
yeah, but yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah. Are these
And
still
they're,
being designed by, like, are these still old designs by Virgil, or is this
Yeah.
new stuff
Yeah.
not designed by him?
No, old.
it's Virgil before he passed away, I think.
Fair enough.
The $2,600 for
Yeah.
retail. So
Jesus.
So they're going to be up there with like Dior one prices.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
the resale on that would be Dior level as well, I
Yeah,
guess. It would
like
be
8 to
around
10K.
15K. Well,
No,
Dior is
Dior
like more
started
than
like 20 when they first
Yeah.
hit the market, didn't they?
They've dropped down quite a bit, but still, they're still stupid prices.
Oh yeah. Well, I only know one person that has a pair, and that's Jonathan. Other than that, I don't know anyone else. I don't know anyone else that's even got a pair. Does Norman have a pair?
It was
I
a
don't
real
think so.
pair. Ah, right.
Yeah, Jordan has a legit pair. He has a legit pair of Nike Mags too. He chucked them on foot as well too, which was like wild, I reckon. Dude's a baller.
That's quality collection right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his collection. He started his collection like 2 or 3 months before he started the page. His collection's crazy already. Like both pairs of Unions, both pairs of Off-Whites, Dior's, heaps of stuff, man. Dude's got a crazy collection.
MX itself is enough, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, they're not the safe loss. They're self-placing ones. They're the other model. They're slightly less expensive, but they're still like 15 or 16 grand or something like that.
Yeah, it's nuts. Again, nostalgia, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Expensive nostalgia.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've been going on for 2 hours now, and maybe we should start. I mean, it's a very interesting discussion. I'd love to have some of you guys back again. Maybe not focusing on reps, just general sneaker discussion, and I'd love to have a chat with you guys again. And I do that a lot because I pretty much just have this circle of people that I rotate with, like JP, G, and you two of you guys. I'm hoping that you come back. So
yeah, I would have been on Lost with the other admins, but yeah, I had my car accident, so kind of. Yeah.
Any closing words, fellas?
All I gotta say is it was nice to pleasure talking to you all. Honestly, it was nice to have a chat to you guys about the situation, and like, especially someone like yourself, Julian, who is very like the opinions are very much black and white, both sides in that circumstance. Like, you're against them, you're for them, James is for them. Like, it's nice to hear your side of stories, like your side as well too, outside of a Facebook Messenger group.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, I take your opinion with more respect now than hearing it from Facebook Messenger group, because it's hard to communicate with text. So like, I appreciate actually listening to you guys, and like the time, that kind of stuff you guys talked to is awesome.
Cool. James?
Yeah, pretty much in the same vein as what Dylan just said. Like, I think above all, I was pretty much just, I felt very grateful to be invited to come on to talk about it. And I think it is a really interesting discussion because, as we kind of said, this is a culture where essentially we all really like the same thing, but it's amazing how much division and all that kind of stuff can be created. So yeah, hopefully we can continue just to have good discussion. And it's been a really good opportunity for myself also to change my own way of doing things, which, yeah, I was pretty militant before.
Cool. JP?
Just thanks for having me on again, and nice to meet you guys. And it's good, as Dylan said, it's good to hear the perspective in real life rather than, like, I guess, having a ping pong match on Facebook or Messenger and stuff like that. So it's good to get out open and in the air. And also, I'll be going up to the Kickstand show up in Queensland next week. So if anybody who's watching's there, come and say hello. I'm going to have a T-shirt on that says the Lace Brothers on it on the back. So come and say hello.
You're gonna be vlogging about it, GP?
We'll probably walk around and do a live. So
Nice.
So watch our Instagram, and hopefully, we can get some good reels going as well.
Cool. Your reels have been really good recently, mate.
Thanks, man. You too.
And Emmanuel?
Oh, I just hate that. Honestly, it's so good. No, I just want for letting me be part of this, because now I'm more educated than I was coming in, and I think that's what it's all about. It's just finding out more about
So-called mainstream subculture, whatever we're in.
Really like networking and just meet new people and stuff, which is awesome. So really appreciative of being part of this conversation, even though I'm a little bit dumb. Honestly, I have no idea what's wrong with But yeah, it's good. It's always to chat shoes, reps or authentics. I don't care. Let's just talk about shoes.
I just want to talk to adults. Let's say at the start. Right.
Cool. All right. So for those listening, right, and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, and if it's on Spotify, please follow or bookmark me. And thanks again, guys. Thanks for giving me the time, and good night, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Good night.
Cheers, guys.